Hello, good afternoon, University of Washington EEP598 Project Management, Team 13. This is for our final project, and primarily what we're going to be doing here is looking at emerging technologies and how different types of project management principles and volumetric capture. Here you're seeing telepresence using 3D avatars captured via vertical cavity surface emitting lasers or time-of-flight sensors, implemented with an AI machine learning algorithm so you can actually see my face, and then it's using the Azure V4 the depth camera on the front to actually track my hands and the movement in real time. Now you guys probably know at this point that I'm not a big fan of Zoom. I don't feel like it increases interactions exponentially between students and teachers, and in many ways I think it is inhibiting the natural educational transfer process of knowledge and wisdom. I mean, we can see that even in this class this semester, where the professor has tried many times to get people to participate in these live action scenarios in the project management system, and it's just been so difficult for him to get people to interact because he can't see your eyes, he can't see your face, he doesn't know that you're engaged. And that's a two-way street there. It's very important, and when you have a teacher-student type scenario where they can see your eyes. That's why in-class education is so vitally important, not only for our elementary and high school students, but for college education and in engineering. I think the University of Washington should be using these tools on a wide scale, not just on a small proof of concept prototype or something like that, where you have me showcasing this to the university, to the students, so you guys can see the future of interactive elements via the virtual reality or augmented reality. I like this in spatial computing using the Microsoft HoloLens 2.0, because I believe fervently that it isn't just AR and all these other different emerging technologies, but because of COVID, because of the pandemic, these types of remote telepresence, remote work is not going to go away. The United States is one of the most obese countries in the entire world, which is primarily one of the major contributing factors to why we've been so negatively impacted by this disease. Upper respiratory illnesses go after people that suffer from diabetes. We have 500,000 people that die a year from diabetes and cancer and heart disease and various other problems like this. And obesity is a massive problem. So I think that if we're looking at this from an agnostic point of view, we need to start implementing these types of tool sets, obviously highlighting taking care of your body and your health, your mental and physical and spiritual self, which is one of the most important things you can do. But moving forward in the educational sphere, these types of applications will help augment us until we can get a lot of those other types of scenarios caught up to where our society realizes that taking care of each other, taking care of your physical body will help mitigate future pandemic responses, and it will help hopefully potentially mitigate the negative consequences this is having on our educational institutions across the United States. So as you can see this, again, it's tracking in real time, but to my left you see this big platform wall, and this is where you can actually share information with your team in real time, and I'm going to show you guys that, and we're going to go into that right now. And as we begin to start on this application, this is spatial for the Microsoft HoloLens 2.0. You can use it on the Oculus Quest, you can use it on HoloLens 1, you can even use it on your cell phone via ARKit and ARCore, and it'll create a little spatial anchor that you can share spatial awareness and understanding with people, basically in distances far away from you, from your office, from your central headquarters. And you can use this platform here, this Explore menu, to create a real-time shareable interface between your project management teams. And I find it highly advantageous versus 2D interfaces. I mean, I grew up with CRT screens at less than 60 hertz. I grew up looking at the cell phone prominence, from the Razors in the early 2000s to the iPhone. I've seen the transformation and this disruptive innovations and all these inventions in these emerging technology and the vertical markets around the world that have been impacted by this, but they're not being implemented across the entire spectrum of businesses, which is surprising to me, because you look at the cost savings, you look at the increase in efficiency and productivity when you have these types of technologies at your disposal within your project management teams and within your organization. I think it's really, really a fundamental concept moving forward for all executives, for managers, for leaders to understand what tools are available, which is why I like to make these videos, which is also why I'm highlighting this for Team 13 and our final project. So let's go ahead and let's create a note and share this on our platform over here. So what I should be able to do is just go ahead and click this open, and we're going to create a note. Remind my team to set a meeting for next Monday. All right, now we can put this up on the wall, essentially, and if we were in this in real time, you would be able to see that little note, and we can create a sequence of notes for different days, for different tasks, just like Habitica. It's nearly identical. However, you're interacting with it in real time. You're seeing it and I'm seeing it, and I can see your avatar, which is a completely different way to interact. It goes against the last 13 years of the way that we've been interacting in this small scale with this small little cell phone, which I believe is destroying the social fabric of the world, right? Because people's eyes are constantly down, and they should be up. They should be seeing the beautiful world. They should be interacting with people. They should be able to see your eyes and your hands as you communicate. There's all these other gestures and interactions that people can get information from via emotional intelligence, and they can see whether you say something, whether you had a different meaning for it, and then you can show them versus just text messages and emails and all these things. There's so much. There's a high level of ambiguity there, and I always find that it causes an exponential increase in conflict in organizations versus these kinds of interactions in real time, because people see you, and there's a different way that we all as humans choose to treat other people if you can see them in real time, because you can feel some kind of an emotional connection to what they're saying, and you feel their passion, you feel their energy, which is, in my opinion, one of the most magical things we can have in any kind of interactive elements, okay? So let's also show, kind of creating a note-taking device with your hands in real time that you can also share. So let's come down here, and we should be able to do the same thing again, but now we're just going to say done, and I'll just say 10-4. Again, we're just going to kind of do this with our hands. 10-4. So imagine as an engineer, instead of writing stuff down on Habitica, writing stuff down on Slack, writing stuff down on all these different areas that you have to remember, then you have to tag, then you have to track, we could create a real-time platform, just like spatial, where you're interacting engineering CAD data, you're looking at microbiology, you're looking at colloid particles, you're looking at virus transmission and computational fluid dynamics, you're looking at radiometric infrared systems that are looking at airports in real time. All of these sensors, all this information should be brought to the fray here within spatial computing, and not delegated or relegated into a 2D interface like a cell phone or a Zoom call, which I do not find productive at all. And as I finalize this presentation for Team 13 for our final project, I hope you guys have followed me throughout the quarter. This is the 5th video that I've created, approximately 45 minutes of content for everybody at the University of Washington, at the CEO Lab, in the project management class, and any other interested parties, so they can understand and they can see and they can witness and they can share the next level of interaction via spatial computing that I believe is the transformation the university needs versus any other element that they could actually adopt, because many people learn much more efficiently in this manner. You can see across the United States, I think there was a recent poll that said up to 70% of students are not happy with the current model of sitting in front of a computer for 4 hours on a Zoom call, because they don't feel included. They don't feel like the professor can see them. Their interactions and their expertise and their mastery and just their ability to use their imaginative prowess is stifled. And I do not believe that is the way forward. We need to iterate quickly. We can't just wait 6 months or a year and keep using these antiquated 2D systems and platforms to educate our youth, to educate our young engineers and aspiring brilliant genius scientists. We need to jump on this technology now, and we need to subsidize it and make it available for as many students as possible throughout the entire United States. I think it will only behoove us in the end. Thank you so much, Team 13. Thank you so much, EEP598. Thank you, Professor, and all of the TVAs. I appreciate this journey. This adventure was wonderful, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Hey there again, University of Washington, EEP598 for project management. I wanted to add in another product for virtual reality, the Oculus Quest, designed by Facebook, so you guys can see another element of interaction here in the VR, remoting into my PC. This is the Slack channel for SEAL, and it's a completely different way of communicating. Again, adding another additional ability to communicate, and you can have you can upgrade this into a different type of platform where you have a very similar type of situation where you can share information in real time via spatial. You can see your real-time avatars, you can see other people, you can interact, you can even type on a virtual keyboard here, and you can kind of move this all the way around so you can communicate in a more effective and efficient manner. But I think a lot of universities need to be promoting this technology. This is only $400, and you see how much money they spend all across the board on Zoom and enhanced 2D interfaces like iPads for $1,200 for an iPad. My goodness, you can buy 3 Oculus Quests for the same price as 1 iPad Pro. And if you had an organization for SEAL that has 100 different engineers working on 3D drawings, CAD, virology, immunology, biology, different types of electrochemical generating devices, air quality devices, COVID masks. You can see and share this information in real time, and I just find it to be unbelievably advantageous because, again, you're taking advantage of something that is the next stage on this inflection point for disruptive innovation, and we're adopting it quickly before others do. Now, if you look at the standard all the way across the educational markets and the universities in America, almost nobody, and I say this with confidence, almost no universities are pushing virtual reality interactions, are subsidizing these types of technologies for their students, and they should be. I don't see many universities giving people tuition discounts for learning online. The classes are still $4,000 and $5,000 each, so perhaps they could use some of that additional overhead and overflow to invest in these types of technological products that influence the way their students learn from their teachers in a virtual environment so they feel more connected. I think that's the biggest problem that we've seen from Zoom is students do not feel connected to the professors. The professors can't see their emotional state. They have a difficulty in getting them to essentially not only communicate in real time, but to interact in these kinds of role-playing situations where you have a project manager that sees something that's failing or a conflict that they want to mitigate, and we want to implement some kind of a solution in real time. We've had a very difficult time doing that this semester, and you've seen that from the professor, and I feel his frustrations. And it's not just a lackadaisical mentality from the students, but I think it's also kind of a lack of foresight from universities leaders not to implement this and adopt this in a more quicker and efficient manner. I think it will really help a lot of students moving forward across the United States, not just in colleges, but in elementary and high school students. Now, elementary students, we want to prevent them from using a lot of this technology until it gets to a point where we're not worried about eye damage. Some of the frames per second need to be up at least 90 frames per second with high resolution. They should be taking breaks. Their eyes are still developing, so we have to keep an eye on that with children under the age of 13. But with high school students and college students, we should absolutely be pushing the adoption of these technologies much quicker than we're seeing now. But I wanted to show this to you all so you can kind of see another way of interacting in a project management environment. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. And thank you, Team 13. And again, thank you to everybody at the university, including the TAs and the professor. You guys have a wonderful day.